Hello there, fellow modders. In this time, we're going to be working on the video number 7. And in this 7th part, what we're going to be looking is to add the special province improvement. And with that, we should have all the little bits that conform a tome. But I think I will revisit at least the strategic spell because I'm not quite happy with how it turned out to be. I want to improve it a little bit to ensure that the status effects are visible. So we will revisit that, and yeah, maybe even I'll also look into the first the summon spell. Maybe I'll make the carrion bird a bit uncontrollable for the first turns by giving it some sort of frenzy or something like that, because it may be a little bit strong to summon a tier 2, even if it has the requirement of using a corpse. But yeah, so maybe we'll do that. And then if we have time, we will start revising the text and descriptions and make sure those are the correct ones. Usually I do that the last thing I do for a tome because as I've already told you, things change. We modify them if we see that they are a bit too strong or they don't work as expected. So it doesn't really make sense to have those set in because in the end we will have to change them anyway. So yeah, let's start. And yeah, I already have here the Tome of Hunger open, and we are going to be creating a new page, a new category, and then. But for that, we first need to find a suitable template. And to do so, we are going to be looking here at province improvements that are close to in their effects to what we are looking to achieve in our own tome. So first of all, I would like it to be something like a farm. I want it to provide food. Let's see. I believe. Yeah, here we don't have the effect that heals, and I believe that that one may be the hardest one. So we will probably have to do a little bit of one and a little bit of another. So for example, let's see, one that gives both draft and food. Yeah, we could use the Carnival of Flesh because we will use the food and the draft instead of positive will be negative. We will remove this adjacency bonus. And so let's open that from the Tome of Revelry. So let's go and search for that. We are searching under packs, so Revelry should provide us an easy access. And not only that, but let's search for the effect that actually heals units. I'm not sure if it's a conduit, maybe, or was it the? Yeah, it's this one, the herbalist, which provides additional regeneration on the city's domain. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It will be somewhat of a copy of this effect, maybe stronger because we will have a detriment, a negative effect on our province. So let's go and look for the Tome of Fruits. Well, fruits. Go. All right, and let's see how they set things up. The baseland will be the Tome of Revelry one. So let's go to the province improvement. Let's see what defines a province improvement. First of all, we have some property unlock settings. So a little bit of different than other elements of the tome. And this will be what I believe is added to the player properties, the Tome. Can see, or maybe not. I believe no. It's the actual structure ID. So it is not this. This instead is what links, I believe, the property ID with the upgrades and the actual effects. So usually we grant structure property. If we go back here in the definition of the Tome, you can see here initial player properties that they are given the structure ID. Case of the Carnival of Flesh. So we will do so in our own. And for now, let's just quickly grab all of this. There's probably a chance that it gives some kind of errors because I believe this the performance improvements have like these errors, but don't pay mind to it because it doesn't really affect us. And all of that we're going to put in a new category called province improvement. So Tome of Hunger, province improvement. Yeah. And let's paste that. And it will be plain. Okay. And then let's start linking those in, and then we will look exactly what each part does. Okay. So, oh yeah, before that, let's change the name as always, because if not, we may not know what we're referencing. So Carnival of Flesh. We will substitute for, I believe it was Great Cauldron. Yeah, let me check in a sec. So the actual term was bottomless cauldron. So let's use that. Then let's start linking the bottomless cauldron. We've just copied, created, reference the structure ID. Okay. Then here we should reference the then structure ID will not have anything in itself. It will be like the thing that everyone subscribes to and we give to the player, so that the thing that was subscribed is also given in this way to the player. We will change the province improvement name right here, by the way. So let's grab those. We will leave this as it is. So prediction, sure. Yeah. And then the icon we'll use one of our own, that which we actually added those in our CLB file in the first episode. Here on the polarity provider, this is the actual model of the building in the map. So for that, we should pick the one that is most closely linked to our own effect, and instead of a province improvement, there's also the option of using other types of structures, like I believe those that offer special magic elements. In this case, maybe I'll leave it. Yeah, maybe I'll leave it like that now. And the Carnival of Flesh, not exactly what, or not. Maybe let's go with the actual blood, Archon blood, I believe. Not exactly a cauldron, but may give the idea across. So ideally, we would create our own models of buildings and such, but that seems difficult, at least for me. So let's pass on that. If you have the skills and want to do it for us, then I invite you to do it. but yeah, for now, let's do with that. And for the costs, let's change it to tier 1. If not, people will complain that it's too expensive. We will use indeed a farm base. And here we will change the sector ID for our own. And the adjacent come with an want. In fact, let's already remove that because we're not. What else? What else we can add here? We have, let's see, the farm sector ID. That's necessary. The stability cost, that's also good. That's the one that makes all province improvements cost a little bit of stability to the city. The sector property ID. Sure. Yeah, all special province improvements have those. Our own sector ID, which is the one that gives us our special effects. We can also add here the income. We could give it to the colony or the sector, I believe. It doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter for this, but for those bonus incomes that take into account adjacency bonuses, that needs to go to the sector. Because if you add it to the colony, it will count everything that is adjacent to all the tiles or hexes on the next to the colony, and the values will multiply by really big numbers. That's what happened to my Tome of the Tides initially. I didn't know that. But no, we will. Let's replace that with the bottomless cauldron. I guess it will be fine. If not, people will complain, and we will know. What else? Here we say that as forbidden sector property, we set this to fishery. Most of them have it, except the one my own in the tides, because I actually wanted to be a fishery. So under must have structure properties, they have added here the structure ID. So let's emulate that. Same. This one is the one that requires you to actually have the city at level 2 before creating it. And we will have this because we will obtain this ID because the player has it, because the Tome gives us a structure ID. If we remove this, I guess that everyone could use this structure, province improvement. Then where else? Where else could we change here? Nothing here on the AI. Here on the MISC, here you can set whether it can be destroyed or replaced. Then whether you can actually build it multiple times. That's interesting. And also you can here you can determine which overlay requires the province improvement requires, I believe. Was it here or maybe under tax? Here on location? It's here under locations where you choose the overlays that would work with this. And where do we want this improvement to be? I mean, it's a cauldron. It could be anywhere in reality. But I don't want to overcomplicate things, so let's leave it like that under farming, okay? And let's also leave here the farm requisite and this sector requisite ID. And yeah, the rest is also fine. So let's continue this to something wrong. Okay, let's actually choose our icon for the cauldron and the hunger, the CLV we added the first episode under structures, and it's the only one. Okay, very a little bit strange AI generated art, but let's go with that. And this sector property, as most properties like this, they don't really contain anything. They are just for trading. So I give you this, so you can use it, and that's it. But other things actually do subscribe to the sector ID. In this case, we will have to change this name. We'll have to also obviously use our own sector ID. Let's do that. That's done. Then the income. We want to actually give lots of food. But first, let's have a general look of values to see how others do it. And I'm not I believe, yeah, we cannot compare with other tier ones. We don't have the filter here. But for example, here we see a tier one that is giving up to, let's say, 10 resource. Then also there's agency bonuses, so it can be more than that. Let's say there's an average of 2 or 3, so 16 maybe, 16 points there. Carnival of Flesh is stronger, as you can see. It gives like 14 from baseline and then more. Let's look for another tier 1. Not in this case, so let's switch to Forester. Let's see this Forester. Forester gives a 14 baseline, also gives a cheaper units. So it would seem that the sum of the well, I mean, look, this one gives 10 foot and also agency. So and they maybe are counting have like one adjacent province. So yeah, around 15 total 15 total points of a resource for a tier 1. So in our case, we could directly say, hey, 15 of this. And but since we are going to actually give a negative unit production, and I want it to be not an irrelevant amount, so something that does hurt. Or if 5 will hurt, maybe. So we could even up this to 20. But since we do grant other bonuses, let's not give as much, maybe 18, quite a lot of food. Well, since these other elements, other buildings do have also extra bonuses aside from the plus 15, yeah, I believe it won't be too good. So yeah, let's go with 20 and minus 5 draft. People will hate us for this minus draft, but it's a price to pay for the glorious food production. I even think that in production is more valuable, but so yeah, they may hate us for this, but it's what the lore dictates us, what the flavor dictates us, and flavor triumphs over everything. So let's do this, and we don't really need to change anything of this. You can look into this yourself if you want. There are lots of types of modifiers, but we don't care. We want a flat income, nothing too difficult for now. I believe the sector type is using, no, not here. What is actually using income? Yeah, I know, I remember now. This was using the income, and what else could we add? We have a requisite. Here we're actually using. Not really. Wonder where they are using it. But anyway, let's continue. Yeah, right now I can't really piece together where this requisite was being used, but we will just in case change this. Okay, we will also save. Then work on the other part of the or aspect of our province improvement, which is the fact that it provides some healing. Because it's not under hero skills, obviously. It will instead be here, probably under sector property. It's a sector property, so added to sectors that affects units. And what does those units? It gives this property, which is the one that actually it's a stat bonus. And under stat bonuses, here we have special entry that can actually grant more regeneration. So yeah, let's actually just grab those. Let's see where they also add this, just to be sure. But it's probably they add it under sectors. Makes sense. Sector property. Have an income, adjacent income, province. I'm not seeing it. Let's keep searching. Okay. Oh, I see. They are giving it under colonies because they want it to not affect only the sector, but the colony, the entire colony, and to not to not compete with this. So at least it's a little bit different. Since our own province improvement is already strong, let's add it to the instead of the colony to the sector. So it will be less strong. Okay, it will be a lesser effect, but still important. So we will force our players to be next to the cauldron to actually benefit from this effect. I don't want to simply copy an effect and erase this unique ability. So let's go with that. And then I'm going to use cauldron property. Everything here should be fine. So we are just stealing this effect, simply applying it to less of a unit. And here maybe with the special effects description, but let's go with our own. I think the players will understand. And since it's doesn't affect the whole province, but a single sector, we can actually make it like stronger. It's like a trade-off, so it will be different. It will be stronger, but with lesser range. Cool. And I don't think it will be too strong. After all, it's just healing. Yeah, and then we will add, as we said, under here under sectors. We don't want to affect all our colony. We could even add this to the player if we want. So all units, whether regardless of where they are, they could benefit from this. So bottomless cauldron, sector property unit. That's it. Really, that's it. It will be a bit harder to test this, but let's attempt it anyway. Let's see if it appears. But prior to that, we need to actually give it to the Tome of Hunger here under properties and search for color maybe. A sector ID. Oh, structure ID, I believe. Correct one. Make sure, but that's the correct one. Yeah, it's a structure ID. Always a little bit confusing between structures and sectors and colonies and all sorts of that. So yeah, let's save this and go inside the game. So the target is, let's think about it. We need to level up our city real quick. Tier 2. Give it some population. For that we'll need Imperium. And then we will build the actual element, the province improvement. Try to be heard in a battle. Return to there. And also check if the and therefore check if the healing is being applied or not, and whether we are actually getting the bonuses building, right? So first of all, let's attract some population with some Imperium. Here. Okay, and then we do know that, or at least it should be on under farms. Let's try to build it here, maybe here. Maybe here because it's closer to the enemies. Okay. And then we shouldn't be able to see it here because it requires tier 2 CD. So let's boost that. And that's done. And now, yeah, indeed, it's appearing here. So construct this. And it did construct, although apparently adding the effect of the blood element, what's it called? The magic material? It's like it wasn't as easy as just adding it. This doesn't happen for other province improvements. If you change it to another, I'm sure it will display property. But it would seem that this is not exactly the case with this. We will look into that in a sec. But for now, we should see if it's applying it or not. I'm seeing plus 20 from Great Cauldron, so that's fine, that's great. I'm also seeing that this... no, I believe this I wrote myself, fine. Not automatically generating or anything. And then we should check the draft. Affecting? Yeah, it is actually affecting us with this -3 from domain. So it's a pretty hefty penalty. But yeah, maybe the food fight is enough. Counter for that plus the region. So with region you won't lose as many units, theory. So you won't need as much draft. And let's actually test that. Let's get hit a little bit with the ever trusty stone spirits. And let's the AI should actually let itself get hit a little bit, I hope. Please don't heal them. Well, not that this matters because it's just temporary, but yeah, okay, the AI not did an okay job. We did have a unit that was very it's pretty weakened. Let's compare. Let's look at current region if it's displayed here. So right now we are since we have fast recuperation with getting +5, and we also have the baseline wilderness +5. Let's move them to this spot. Let's look again. Yeah, indeed, it is actually appearing here. I see there's... interesting, because this is actually the icon of the farm. I don't see it displaying here, but it should appear correctly. Whenever we look at elements constructed. Right now I don't recall where we could see the structures built here. Yeah, in theory it's see this great cauldron name. It has this icon. What the farm text there was. But interestingly, this little screen can't actually display icons, so it shows like this. I wonder if it's the same for the actual official ones. But anyway, yeah, let's give it a thumb of approval or a seal of approval, because it's working as expected. And I see that this should mark the 30-minute mark. So we still have a little bit of time to have a look at, I believe it was the strategic spell, this meet the menu. We had some troubles trying to display the effects of both strengthened and hunger, because they were coming from not this, but yeah, this status effect description, exactly. Because we were granting a temporary property and uses this status effect link. And being in the status description, we already know all the troubles we have with the status effects. Then we encounter this hard to solve issue of displaying different effects. So instead of this, we will still grant a status effect, but the status effect won't do anything by itself but be an auto spell, and we will benefit from the fact that the status effect will be applied prior to the battle, so they will start with this on the battlefield. Therefore, we can use the auto spell ability of triggering right at the start of the battle, and that will apply our different buffs. And I believe that bypasses all of the need of having our own these problems of a status description, of internal effects under effects, and therefore we will actually have both the status effect saying, hey, at the start of the battle I grant this and this, and on the other side the actual effects that will be granted by the auto spell. So let's try to do that. Maybe we could use an auto spell as an example or template, but let's try it first directly. I believe it shouldn't be too much of an issue. So I will add it, could add it here, I guess. Let's insert a row. And let's search for auto spell. And we actually want this, this unit property auto. Let's look at it real quick. And yeah, this one has a start of the turn effect, which is what we really want. And we don't want to display this in the unit panel. We don't want this to display. The display is the status effect itself. Let's see, first of all, if we can actually reference it, because sometimes it's not as easy as adding this and linking them together. They need specific types, and maybe we need extra steps. Let's try it like this first. Say auto spell, and then under here it does appear. So, yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. So instead, this status effect, we won't change anything here. It's already okay. We know it should appear in theory thanks to this. Now it should appear, and if it does not, we will look into it later. Don't worry about that. But, wait, check this. Well, actually, this Unity property group was what was actually controlling whether it was displaying or not. So no, yeah, let's actually fill this up, okay, real quick. so that it does display. And we will use this name and description effects. The menu, I believe. Sure. Then let's keep copying. So the icon, of course, we want to use. Because we will change this to auto spell. Let's copy this. Search for it. Feel happy? I think I know why. It's under skill 4. Skill 4 mod icon. Thanks to this little reminder. And what else? It should set under true false primary. Set that true false primary. Here we can also determine a special effect sequence for the first time it triggers, or whatever, or when simply it triggers. In case it will simply be one. Do we want a special effect? I don't think so. They will start with this. They have already eaten. We don't really need to show anything. People or players will see that they do get the effects the first turn. And the rest we don't care, except we do care for this. For the target, this auto spell to trigger at the start of the turn. And I don't know if you remember, but we can use a special targeter that targets the caster. We will use that because we want each of these status effects. So each one of our units that has the status effect, we want them to use their status effect to cast a spell, and the spell will target themselves, and the spell will add those new buffs that we want. So copy this. Say this is an unit target caster. And yeah, sure, we will leave, probably by leaving everything here like that, it's already fine. We can filter more by saying friendlies only. Not that it will matter, because only our units will have this effect. And then here under effects, we will, I believe we can already directly go for the strengthen effects. We will add those, 2 of those, and some hunger. We'll add 2 of those. Yep, mimicking what we already had or originally had here. Notice that they use the effect property instead of the status effect guaranteed. Yeah, they work a little bit differently. We could replace this. And actually, let's go and do it. Let's see if anything has broken. I believe no, because we already are using the other spell and not the other. So let's save and let's go and test. Hopefully this will make it easier for both the users to understand what's happening, because they will see the actual stacks counted. And as well, and they will also have the icon of our special effect of meet in the menu. So they will know that this will be affected for 3 turns, 3 overlay turns, or map turns, whatever they're called. And then let's load again this famous quick save. I'm not sure we do have those research. Quickly for it. Because it's not here, so probably we already have that. Let's under casting spells. I'm not seeing it. Maybe we broke it. That's perfectly possible. Yeah, I believe we broke it. So it must be one of the effects again that displays. So let me have a look at it, and I will come back in a sec. Hello again, and the actual problem was much easier than any display problems, and it was that we simply didn't have a targeter. We had created one, but we hadn't actually linked it. So of course, the auto spell without a targeter wasn't doing anything, and the game had decided that since this won't do anything, it won't even display itself. I don't agree with that decision, but that's how it is. So we simply needed to add here on the event the target that we had created, and we needed to save, of course. And now if we go into it, I have already tested, so I know the result, but and it's beautiful. But let me show you so that you can be also assured that it works. And as you will see, the tragic extent of my failures. You will see in this case it's not a failure, actual victory. And yeah, let's count. 3 tier 1 units, okay. Spell appearing, yeah, already ready prepared. Casting. Lot of flesh. And one less tier 1 unit. Is a peasant died. And here we have the meat on the menu. For some reason it's appearing as red. That I didn't saw last time. That's fine. Probably a tag somewhere that says it's negative, which is not the case. But let's fight against our trusty stone helpers, testers. And there we go. The combat starting, and they all get the special effect. Let's let's wait for another turn, because we don't want this to be triggering many times. Let's see if it actually it's only restricted to the first turn. And it is not restricted to the first turn, so we will have to look into this. Let's see, there's here it is. It's obvious. Our problem was that we set this to start of turn, and sure, I wanted this to be start of turn, but I wanted this to be on the start of the battle, not the turn. So let's change that to on combat start instead, and I'm pretty sure that it will work fine. But let's also try to change the other element, the fact that it appeared to be negative. And I'm not sure if it's on the here, probably not, probably on the status. Yeah, the status effect that it's appearing negative. So yeah, let's change this to true. It is possible. And why not? Let's real quick test it again. Let's see if that was all it needed to be. I hope that this is it. You can see it's very easy to make these mistakes. Just one value, it's not exactly the one it could have been, and we have this expected or unintended behavior. Let's see if it appears as a positive effect now. Oh, there we go. It's now green instead of red. So even though that field that we had to set was for the AI, it actually influenced how users actually see our spells. So it's clearly important to take a look at that. We want everything to be nice and tiny. and the first trigger is correct and it's intended, and no second trigger, so that's just right. Okay. So we are on over 45 minutes now, and I'm not sure if we can actually polish anything else. It was pretty useful. Yeah, let's go and actually change the spell that I said, the one, the tactical one, this bird thingy, carrion. Instead of giving it only this auto stack, let's create a real quick property group. Yeah, I was thinking, will we have problems with this place? I don't think so, because the effect, the +1 hunger auto stack, we don't really care if it displays or not. We know it happens and there. But the other effect, I'm not sure if it will display or not. But I guess as long as we explain it in the description of the spell, people will know what's happening. That, or we could also make the same trick we made right now, make it an auto spell, but the auto spells will trigger each turn. There's another trick we can do. Instead of a unit spell, auto spell, we can do a combat enchantment, and combat enchantments, we can say that they last for X turns. So X turns. So instead of triggering multiple times, we can say that they only affect one time. But for that, we would need to filter somehow for the Karen bird, so it's the only thing affected. And under that, then we could grant both the, let's say, the +3 original hunger that I had intended, and maybe also an effect that grants frenzy. I believe it's frenzy, the one that can be annoying. Let's put it here, hopefully. Oh yeah, this the. Oh, let's look. No, not here, not here. No, I'm changing my mind constantly. Usually my uh, mode of normal mode of operation, changing mind constantly, trying to think what would be the best. And here we can actually see effects, but not the ones we are interested. Let's add some roles, and let's start by saying combat property spell. I believe this is the one. A combat property unit auto spell. We don't want any icon link because we don't even want this to be visible. Hopefully, this means that it doesn't need to, that it still applies. Set this to false. Yeah, it was sure it would be unique. And for this type of elements, we don't want actually to wait rounds. We want to trigger the same time it's being casted. So this will create a combat enchantment. Okay. Yes, at least in theory. And then this will use here the events, we'll use a targeter, magical targeter, and we will look for all. And under all, once we have the correct name, we will search for a specific property. But this property we will create now from scratch. Will be a dummy property. And see what exactly they refer to as property. There are many kinds of properties. Just to have an idea. Maybe there's actually a dummy one. So let's look for that. Okay, we already see that there are some dummy ones. So let's go there, copy one of those. These are just to act as a marker so that everything targeter, this targeter that targets everything, knows, oh, hey, this is the one I want, and I will apply an effect to this one. If there were other carrions with this dummy prop, they would also be targeted again. But I believe they remove it, or that you can remove it. We will try to see to do it here. I have never used it, but it wouldn't be too difficult. So scent of flesh, dummy property. Care about this. Of poisonous. Name instead. Okay. Leave everything here as it is. So this targeter will say that to actually affect, let's actually target only our allies. So to actually affect, they have a required property of scent of flesh dummy property. Okay. Then what will it do? It targets this unit. We will set under specs, and maybe we can actually go nuts here, like hunger, and it does indeed appear here. So yeah, let's add all those 3 hunger stacks that originally we intended to apply. And let's also look for frenzy. There it is, the frenzy, and let's look into it just a little bit to see if it's the one that we want. By the way, this happens a lot. If you have added the one that you say that you want to go to, it uses the previous entry of the list. So in this case, instead of looking for frenzy, it went for hunger. That happens a lot, like a little book of this resource editor. Let's save just in case. But we'll go to the target, try again. In this case, it did open the RPK where this is stored. Here is the effect property. Frenzy is applying apparently strengthen status effect description. I believe the frenzy actually gave a little bit of strength, but will this suffice? We want the actual frenzy. Why is it giving a strength? The bug? How interesting. Maybe it's not exactly the effect I had in mind. The one I had in mind is the one that seems to make your units uncontrollable. So let me pause the video and search for it. But yeah, I've returned and I was indeed confused. I was referring to Berserk and not Frenzy. They are very similar for me. So yeah, we don't want to give the frenzy but berserk. So actually own property, or at least they have used this property to create the actual berserk. Could create our own that actually gives attacks specific enemies. I don't want a special behavior, so let's try to reuse the berserk ability. The frenzy. Let's go for berserk, and it does appear, and you can even influence how many turns. They have actually created different variables for us. Let's go with a heavy one, with a one that is 3 turns, so that they can simply spam those, or that it's a little bit a double-edged sword. That should be it. But first we need to make sure that everything is linked. So here under events, the auto property will use the center flash. Here, this targeter. And the targeter will require this dummy property. And we'll apply this. Fine. And also we need to obviously provide this dummy property to the unit. So here the summon effect, instead of the auto stack, we will use the dummy. And like it's not immediately available. Maybe it's not this, but instead the tactical spells. There we go. And let's save again. Summon the auto, the dummy. I believe this should be it. And time is closing up on us. So it's a final test and see if it works. If not, we will revisit this on the next episode. Hopefully it does work. We will have to quickly kill one of the enemy units and see. Let me think. Actually, right. I believe we are not doing right. Yeah. Now that I think about it, when are we actually using auto spell? We are not using. Should add it here.
A power older than time.
We will not be able to play directly.
Free from their imprisonment, ancient wizard kings come, seeking lost magics.
Okay. So we could use targeter. And the problem with those targeters is that I believe they are not sequential, so they try to be applied at the same time. First let me close this. I know it. So this video may be a little bit longer. Hope you guys don't mind. We'll have create a current targeter for the auto spell combat magic. The some sort of combat targeter. I look into my own Astrology. Yeah. Probably will use this tactical targeter. With this combat property. Combat property. So let's try with that. See if it can link here. Center flag. Does link. So we will use this. And we don't want the auto spells to be cast. Yes. Maybe if they do so, they will not trigger summon. So let's leave that under false. And let's see if that works. So here we add tactical. That we don't have access just yet. Okay, yeah, we need a wall targeter, then to add a wall effect. Bit of a pain. About this. Here we add this wall effect for the visualization. Simply add dash. Go. Let's try again. Now it does appear. Yes, I was saying we could directly try to go with this, but I doubt it will work. Let's try. Go and try, I guess. Then we will use the targeter that just created. If it works, then it will be easier than I had expected. Do we have the spell? We do have the spell. Let's go fight. Pinch target. To spice things up a bit. Let's punch. That we lost units. Let's use that as target instead. The crow is summoning correctly. Let's see what happened after the turn, or yeah, what yeah, nothing is happening. I believe that's what be expected. Because both targeters work at the same time. but it's not like with the single target and then area targeters that we can have both effects go at the same time. In this case, targeter summons the element. It's actually summoning it at the same time. Then the other targeter has already done its work, and it didn't find anything. It wasn't there at the time. That's why we probably need the full targeter. So to at least start the effect just for a little bit, and then apply it. Let's try it. Wait. Yep. Play. And we'll see if it works. And if it works, that's the video. And if it doesn't, I will look into it and we'll leave it for another video. So regardless of the result, this should be it. Then go. We will see our unit die again. Yeah, go forward, my minions. Use the stupid tactics. See what happened there? The AI actually blocked itself from simply marching forward. They could have created a barricade here or something to prevent this flanking. Oh, I see that actually the spell is there. How interesting. So it won't be as straightforward as that. Probably it's an issue with, again, displays. So maybe it does need a little bit more stuff to display. Even if it doesn't appear here, it may need stuff. So what I will do is leave it like here and look into it. We will probably have to reuse my astrology targeters. Yeah, I will reuse those, but we will do so in the next episode. So thank you for watching. We are trying to flesh some things out and polish some things to be more interesting. But of course, they need a little bit work. It's not as straightforward. But I hope you enjoyed it. So and yeah, let's see.